Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Our next independent team is coming off another 9-win season, and they returned 13 starters, including a very dynamic quarterback, and they are the BYU Cougars. BYU has always been a very solid team that usually wins around 8 or 9 games a year. This season they played 13 games, so the probability of them getting to 9 wins again is actually very high. It could also be seen as a positive or a negative playing 13 games, but this year they returned 13 starters, including their dynamic quarterback in Tanner Mangum. So I'm very excited to watch the Cougars this season. No team needs to overlook them. They've always been very dominant in the independent, not really a conference, but in the independent. Always a team that puts up a fight, never really goes down easy. And like I said, they always usually win around 8 or 9 games a year. So it'll be very fun to watch them this season. They open up the season early on August 26th against Portland State. Easy win there. Hopefully can work out any issues that they have. I really do think the offense will be the strength, even though they return more starters on defense. But I'm very confident in their offense this season. I'm very excited to watch them play, assuming no one gets hurt. They have had injuries at the quarterback position for the past couple of years, but hopefully that won't be the case this season. And then on the official first day of college football, they face LSU in Houston. So that's going to be a very exciting game. It's a late night game. I think it starts at 8 o'clock or 8:30. LSU is a team that I'm looking forward to watching the SEC this season. It'll be the first full year under Ed Ogeron and Matt Canada at offensive coordinator. Let's not forget that. So I think LSU is going to really improve. And while I think BYU will put up a fight for a little while, I think LSU will end up pulling out in the end, probably late in the fourth quarter, and winning this game. Not easily, but handily. And BYU is not used to playing SEC teams, especially at the level of LSU. Last year they did defeat Mississippi State at home. That was an exciting game, but they never really played someone like the likes of LSU or in Alabama or even in Auburn, somewhere around there. So right now I'm going to predict a loss for them in Houston. Then the Holy War, right after LSU get Utah. This year it's at home. Not really much of a home game. They're going to draw a big crowd from BYU and Utah. But it's going to be a very exciting game to watch. They've lost 6 straight in this series against Utah, and this is the year that I finally think the streak will end. Like I said, it's been 6 straight. BYU, I think, is very talented this season. They return more starters than Utah, and I really do have faith in Tanner Mangum this season, and I think he's going to get the win over Utah, which will be huge for BYU fans. That's going to be a very big deal for them, win the Holy War after a 6-year drought, including that loss in the Las Vegas Bowl in 2015. And then Wisconsin at home. They really don't have a true road game until September 29th down here. They get Wisconsin at home, which is a very interesting game that Wisconsin is traveling out to BYU. But Wisconsin was a team that surprised us last year. They played for the Big Ten championship, and had they won that, could have maybe snuck into the college football playoff. They did not, though, but this year Wisconsin does return quite a bit of starters and are very heavy favorites in their division again, the Big Ten. And right now, I just don't think BYU is going to be able to defeat the Badgers in this one. Like I said, I feel like the offense will be able to put up some points. And like I said, these games against LSU and Wisconsin, I think they'll be able to hang with them. They're not going to get blown out. But in the end, I think they'll lose. And it might be later on in the game when they do lose the game. But then get a bye week. Then at Utah State. Team that's always been a little bit of a threat in the Mountain West. Kind of middle of the pack as usual. But the being on the road doesn't concern me too much because I think Utah State will have a little bit of a down year. Nothing like they've had in the past few years. And I'm going to give them the win over the Aggies at Utah State. And then Boise State, not an easy team. We know that. Usually the best in the Mountain West. They got Brett Rypien back at quarterback, one of the best in the Mountain West, probably behind Nick Stevens if you ask me. So this Boise State game's no pushover game. Luckily they get Boise State at home. Another huge factor for me. I really had to debate a lot about this one. But in the end, I really do feel like BYU has more talent. I really think they're going to be able to get the win over the Broncos in this one. And I like that it's at home. That's going to be key for them. Getting that game at home is going to be key for the Cougars for a lot of these games. The schedule is not brutal. The toughest games are easily LSU, Wisconsin, and Boise State. But so they have the potential to get back to that 9-win mark. Then they go to an SEC team, just like they played last year. Mississippi State, they beat at home last year, and a couple overtimes this season. They have to travel to Mississippi State. I think they're going to lose this one. Last year they were able to beat them, but Mississippi State was a very young team. This year I think Mississippi State has matured, and I really do like Nick Fitzgerald. I think he's going to give the BYU some fits, and BYU I don't think has ever been in an environment like this. Those cowbells are going to be loud. Mississippi State is going to be middle of the pack SEC. They're going to need a big win to get to a bowl game. This could be one of them, and with it being on the road, it's a long way to travel. I just don't like all the signs in this game, and I'm going to give the Cougars a loss. to Mississippi State in this one. And then at East Carolina, a team I also think is going to struggle really bad this season. They had a lot of good years for a while there, but they've kind of started to slip. They're going to get back to where they need to be, back to playing for their conference championship, but not this year. And with it being on the road, I'm not too concerned about that. Another long way to travel for BYU, but I'm not too worried, and I think they're going to get the win over East Carolina. San Jose State, another team that struggled for a while out in the Mountain West. They made a bowl game a few years ago when they were only 5-7, and I believe they won that game, so they were able to win the bowl game as a 5-7 team. So that was exciting for them, but they haven't been able to get to a bowl game recently by themselves at 6-6. And with it being at home, BYU should take easy care of San Jose State. Now, this next game could cause some controversy in the comments. People might disagree with this. I'm predicting a loss for BYU at Fresno State, and here's why. Fresno State returned 16 starters this season, 10 of which are on offense. They're a young team. Those 10 stars on offense are young, but a lot of them played last year. They're coming back, 10 stars on offense, returning. Their quarterback's only a sophomore, so he's had time to mature. He played all season as a freshman, and with it being on the road, I think all the signs are pointing towards a Fresno State win. And it would be a little bit of an upset, but with 16 returning, Fresno State had a horrible year last year, don't get me wrong. And this is not the Fresno State team that they looked like with Derek Carr a few years ago, who's now the quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. But I really think all the signs are pointing towards a Fresno State win over BYU in this one, and I would consider that an upset. I really would. But I really do like this Fresno State team. They have the potential to get back to a bowl game after a horrible year they had last year. And with those 10 returning starters on offense and 6 returning starters on defense, I think they'll be able to upset the Cougars. And then at UNLV, a team that also returns a lot of starters on offense. They return 9 on offense, but they only return 2 on defense. So that really is not good for the Rebels. It's also on the road for the Cougars. Not really too worried about this game. I think they'll take easy care of the Rebels in this one. Massachusetts, a team that is really improving. They haven't been in the FBS for too long. Haven't gotten to a bowl game since they've been able to play Division I football. But they're getting there. Their defense is usually their strength, but their offense is also going to be a lot improved this season as well. So I would not be surprised if Massachusetts pulls off a few upsets here and there. But with this being at BYU and Massachusetts still trying to find out who they are, still trying to get to the point where they can get to a bowl game, I don't think they're going to be able to upset BYU in this one. And then at Hawaii, another team that surprised us last year, had a very good offense and were able to get back to a bowl game and then annihilated Middle Tennessee in the Hawaii Bowl to get that bowl win. So I really didn't expect Hawaii to get to a bowl game last year, but they did surprise me. I'm sure it surprised a lot of other people, including Middle Tennessee fans, in that bowl game. With it being on the road, that's a little bit of a concern because Hawaii is not taking a step back. They're still going to be in competition for getting to another bowl game. Could be a threat in the Mountain West. But BYU, I think, will get the win on the road to Hawaii. Hopefully, with it being on the road, that won't distract them. I'm always concerned about teams that travel to Hawaii if the scenery and the atmosphere is going to distract them from their goal of going there and winning a football game. Don't think that'll happen for BYU. And so, after playing 13 games, BYU will get another 9-win season at 9-4. Not bad at all for the Cougars. That'll be their third straight 9-win season. And if I was a Cougar fan, BYU fan, I'd be very pleased with this. They'll probably go to another good bowl game and hopefully get the win there. And if they do that, they'd reach the 10-win mark, which would be huge for them. So we'll just have to wait and find out. But I really do like this Cougar team. Like I said, I really do like their offense. I have a lot of faith in them. And so right now I'm predicting another 9-win season. So please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to share our videos. The more you share, the more word spreads, and the more likes, comments, subscribers we get. And so we really do appreciate that. And we'll see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.